Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Satashishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Satashishimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ekada Kridamanaste Ramadhya Gopadarakaha Krishna Mridam Bhakshitavan Iti Matrenya Vedayan Ekada Kridamanaste Ramadhya Gopadarakaha Krishna Mridam Bhakshitavan Iti Matrenya Vedayan Ekada Kridamanaste Ramadhya Gopadarakaha Krishna Mridam Bhakshitavan Iti Matrenya Vedayan Vaishnavis. Ekada, once upon a time, Kridamanaha, now Krishna, being still more grown up, was playing with other children of the same age. Te, they, Rama Adya, Balaram and others. Gopadarakaha, other boys born in the same neighborhood of the cowherd men. Krishna Mridam Bhakshitavan. O Mother, Krishna has eaten earth. A complaint was lodged. Iti, thus, Matre, unto Mother Yashoda. Nyavedayan, they submitted. Translation. One day, while Krishna was playing with his small playmates, including Balaram and other sons of the Gopas, all his friends came together and lodged a complaint to Mother Yashoda. Mother, they submitted, Krishna has eaten earth. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Here is another of Krishna's transcendental activities invented to please the gopis. First, a complaint was lodged with Mother Yashoda about Krishna stealing, but Mother Yashoda did not chastise him. Now, in an attempt to awaken Mother Yashoda's anger so that she would chastise Krishna, another complaint was invented, that Krishna had eaten earth. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I first ask for the blessings of the senior Vaishnavas, that I may speak properly on our Gaudiya Vaishnav Siddhantas given to us by our Srila Prabhupada. So in this verse we are starting a new pastime of Krishna. Previously the gopis were complaining about Krishna stealing their butter and doing other activities. And now in this verse, the friends, including Balaram, have come to Mother Yashoda to lodge the complaint that Krishna has eaten earth. So as Sura Prabhu was speaking yesterday, that these pastimes of Krishna are transcendental, divyam. And to really glorify the pastimes of Krishna, stated that Navritta Tersha Rupagi Yamanad Bhavosharach Chotra Mano Bhiramat Ka Uttamashloka Guna Navadat Puman Virajeta Vina Pashugnat. That the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system, from guru to disciple. And so when we're reading about these transcendental activities of Krishna, we have to hear from a bona fide source. We have to go through the parampara system, which is why Srila Prabhupada's books are so important. Because if we hear about Krishna's activities that are completely transcendental, from somebody who is not bona fide or somebody who has not realized Krishna's activities, then there's a chance that we can be misdirected. There's a chance that we can misunderstand these transcendental activities of Krishna. So very important that the first step in reading about Krishna and hearing about Krishna, when one has faith, when one has Shraddha, to associate and serve those who are in the bona fide parampara system. That way we will not be misdirected. We will hear from somebody bona fide and it will be very deep into our heart, the pastimes of Krishna. Which is why Srila Prabhupada's purports are so important, to clearly understand Shri Krishna's pastimes. So Nivritta Tarsher, the glorification of the Lord, is actually relished by those who are no longer wanting to relish this material world. They're not wanting to glorify this false temporary world. Nivritta Tarsher. And we see in this material world, we've experienced it ourselves, that we want to place ourselves in the middle of the universe. Everything's revolving around us. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Janasya moho yamaham mameti. We're constantly thinking in terms of I and mine. I am this body. Everything connected to this body is meant for my enjoyment. This material nature is meant for my enjoyment. So because of this I and mine mentality, we cannot properly glorify Krishna's transcendental activities, because we're wanting to glorify ourselves, we're wanting to glorify the material world. And actually, in Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's Sri Mana Shiksha, something very interesting is he talks about pratishta, or this name and fame. This desiring name and fame, pratishta, he likens it to a prostitute, who's a dog-eating prostitute who's dancing shamelessly in the heart. And he says that when this pratishta is in the heart, then there can be no room for Krishna prema, for love of God. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he states that this pratishta is the root of all anarthas. This name and fame, it's the root of all anarthas. Because when we are aspiring after name and fame, we think ourselves important. We think that we're this body. We think that everything is meant for our pleasure. We think in so many different illusory ways. And so this pratishta is the root of all anarthas, all ignorance. So it's very important that as sadhakas we try to associate with others to cleanse us of this pratishta. By associating with Vaishnavas, this cleanses the heart of this name and fame, because the devotees, the real Vaishnavas, are always wanting to glorify the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. They're not wanting to glorify themselves. And when we read about the pastimes of the 6 Goswamis or Acharyas, we see how their humility and their meekness, it's very profound. It's very deep. And this is actually the doorway to entering into Krishna's pastimes, this humility, this releasing of this pratishta. So nivritta tarshar upagiyamanad, those who can really glorify the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, they're free from glorifying this false material world. And to really understand the pastimes of Krishna, we have to properly go through Sambandha Gyan, foundational knowledge of our relationship with this material world, with Krishna. And that's why it's so important to read Bhagavad Gita, then Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagavad Gita gives us very foundational knowledge of Krishna and the living entity's relationship with the material world and the spiritual world. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Nadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Everything is emanating from Him. He is Shaktiman. He is the possessor of all energies, or Shakti. And so in understanding Sambandha Gyan, it's very important to understand the energies of Krishna, to understand Krishna himself, to understand the living entities who are conditioned, the liberated living entities, and to understand Achintya Beta Beta Tattva. These things comprise Sambandha Gyan. If we don't have Sambandha Gyan, if we're not going through Srila Prabhupada's books in a systematic way, then we can become very confused. And especially if we're not associating with devotees properly, we're trying to understand things by ourselves, then we can become very confused about Krishna and his transcendental activities. So Krishna, being Shaktiman, the possessor of all energies, his, you could say, one Shakti is the Swarup Shakti. His one energy is Swarup Shakti. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, in the teachings to Srila Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes through the different energies of Krishna. And this is very important for us to understand these particular energies in regards to Krishna's Leela. So he states that basically there's one Shakti, Swarup Shakti. And this Swarup Shakti has 3 Vibhavs, 3 Prabhavs, and 3 Anubhavs. So the 3 Vibhavs, or objective components, are Maya Shakti, the material energy, Chit Shakti, the spiritual energy, and the Tatashta Shakti, or the living entities. These are the objective components of the Swarup Shakti. And the Anubhavs are the emotional components, Hiladini, Sandini, and Samvit. And then there's 3 Prabhavs, which are Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Gyan Shakti. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in teaching Sanatana Goswami, he says that this Kriya Shakti is none different than Balaram, Sankarshana Shakti. So in this Icha Shakti, this is Krishna's willpower. Srila Prabhupada, in his translation, Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, thinking, feeling, and willing, that Icha Shakti, it actually manifests all the forms of Krishna, Krishna's name, Goloka, the associates of Krishna. The Gyan Shakti manifests the moods of Aishvarya, Madhurya, and the beauty of Goloka. And then the Kriya Shakti actually activates the Hiladini, Sandini, and Samvit. This is very much elaborated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20. And so understanding these Shaktis, we understand how these pastimes are going on. If we're receiving the mercy of Krishna and really diving into Srila Prabhupada's books, we can see that the Yoga Maya energy through the Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Gyan Shakti, Ladini Shakti, all these energies are creating the Leelas of Krishna. Of course, they're eternal. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there's no creation, but at the same time these energies are creating all of these pastimes of Krishna. And somebody might ask that, well, Krishna's Atmaram, he's fully independent. Why does he need his energies to enjoy? He could just enjoy himself. And a very important point is that there's Atmaramata and Pararamata. That Krishna is Atmaramata, he can enjoy within himself, but then there's something higher, Pararamata, where he wants the living entities, he wants the assistance of others to enjoy. So this is the transcendental activities of Krishna, is that he's completely independent to do whatever he wants, and he can enjoy within himself, but still he has that quality where he wants to enjoy with his associates. And so in this purport here, it's stated that these activities are invented to please the gopis. So these Shaktis of Krishna and Krishna himself, his Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Gyan Shakti, are creating these leelas for his enjoyment and for the enjoyment of his devotees. And so it's also important to understand Rasa Tattva, but that's a very, very deep subject matter to get into. Nectar of Devotion, which has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, goes through elaborately on the different rasas. And ultimately, it's Krishna's mercy. We can try and logically understand every detail of Krishna's Leela, going through all these different statements. But as the Goswamis point out, Tarka Pratishtanat, in the Vedanta Sutra, Tarka, logic, has to be thrown out. Tarka Pratishtanat. Logic is not what's going to help us enter into the pastimes of Krishna. It's actually Krishna's mercy. And to receive Krishna's mercy, we have to serve the devotees. By serving the devotees sincerely, then serving the Vaishnavas, then Krishna becomes merciful. Actually, it's even stated that the Icha Shakti manifests the qualities of forgiveness, compassion, generosity. So when we're serving the Vaishnavas in a very humble mood, then we're connecting with that Icha Shakti. We're connecting with the mercy Shakti of Krishna. So Krishna's pastimes are so attractive. Tava katamrita tapta jivanam. Katamrita, it's like nectar. This katamritam of Krishna. Tava katamrita tapta jivanam, it's actually the life and soul of those who are suffering in this material world. Navrittatarshar upagiyamanad bhavoshadat chotra manobiramat. It's the medicine for cleansing our heart. As we chant the glories of Krishna, as we chant the holy names, and then cheto darpanam marjanam bhava mahadavagni nivapanam, that we're cleansing our heart, we're cleansing the mirror of the heart, of pratishta, of lust, of anger, of greed, of all these bad qualities, so that we can serve the devotees more, so we can serve Krishna more. And in serving more, then we receive more mercy to understand these leelas properly by the mercy of the devotees in Krishna. And so Krishna is so attractive that there's a pastime where Mahavishnu wanted to see Krishna. In the second to last chapter of the 10th canto, there's a pastime of how there was a Brahmin, and him and his wife, they had a child. They were living in Dwarka. And as soon as the child was born, as his feet touched the ground, the child died. So the Brahmin, he took the lifeless child to Ugrasen. He took his child to the king, and he chastised the king. And Srila Prabhupada points out that in these previous times, the king could be chastised if there was even excessive heat or excessive cold. What to speak of a child dying before the parents? Because the natural order is that the parents die, the children take care of the parents. But here the child had died, and so he placed the lifeless child in front of the palace of Ugrasen and started chastising Ugrasen, saying he's a greedy king. He's actually a kshatriya bandhu. He's not even a kshatriya. He's claiming himself to be a kshatriya, but he doesn't have any of the qualities of a kshatriya. And so he leaves after chastising Ugrasen. He has another child. Child dies. Again, takes the child to Ugrasen. He does this 9 times. 9 times they have a child, 9 times the child dies. And every time he took the child to Ugrasen, saying that you're directly responsible for the death of my son because of your sinful activities and because of your greed. And on the 9th time, Arjuna happened to be there. He happened to overhear the Brahmin's complaints to Ugrasen. And so Arjuna, he said, is there no kshatriya here? that can take up arms and protect this child? And he actually stated that all of these kshatriyas, they're acting like Brahmins. They're not protecting the Brahmins. And so he makes a very powerful statement that where the Brahmins, they're lamenting because of lack of wealth, because of lack of making complaints on behalf of their children and others, then the kshatriyas, they're actually living just in name only. They're living only for their own livelihood. They're not actually protecting the Brahmins, because that's the duty of the kshatriyas, to protect the Brahmins, protect the cows, to protect the whole citizens, protect even the animals in their kingdom. And so Arjuna, he vowed, he said, I will personally take up my Gandiva bow and I will keep your child from dying. I make a vow that I will go and I will protect your son. And the Brahmin at first, he said, Balaram is here, Krishna is here, so many kshatriyas, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, so many kshatriyas are here, they haven't done anything to save my child. What makes it think that we can even trust you, that you're going to protect our child? How can we even trust your words? And so Arjuna, he made a vow. He said that I will take up my Gandiva bow, and I have even pleased Lord Shiva with my prowess, with my power. So I vow that if I'm not able to protect your child, then I will enter into fire. And so the time came where the wife was giving birth to the child. Arjuna was called, and he immediately went there, touched purified water, chanted mantras to empower his bow and arrows, and he actually built a fence, and he built a structure to protect the child out of arrows. But still, when the child was born, he started floating up into the sky, floating away. And Arjuna even shot arrows, trying to protect the child up in the sky. Still, the child was taken away. So the Brahmin, he said, see, we thought we could trust you. And so Arjuna, vowing to bring back the child, by his mystic power, he actually went to the abode of Yamaraj, searching for the child. He went to different planets, different areas. He went to the kingdom of Varuna and different demigods like Agni, searching for the child, and the child wasn't to be found. And so Arjuna, he vowed that I have to enter fire. And right before he was going to enter into the fire, Krishna came with his chariot. Krishna said, I will take you, we will go find the child. So they got on Krishna's chariot, pulled by his 4 horses, and they went out into, you could say, space, as Srila Prabhupada points out, on a chariot drawn by horses. Arjuna and Krishna, they were going through the universe. And they even went to the Brahma Jyoti. Arjuna had to cover his eyes, it was so effulgent. And finally they crossed an ocean, and there he saw a beautiful palace. And in this palace was Lord Anantashesh. It was white like the Kailash mountain. And sitting on Anantashesh was Mahavishnu himself. He had 8 arms. He was wearing yellow garments, beautiful helmet that increased the beauty of his blackish curls. And so Krishna and Arjuna standing in front of Mahavishnu, Krishna paid his obeisances to Mahavishnu. Arjuna followed. And Mahavishnu revealed that he was the one who had taken the Brahmin's children. And it was all an act just so that he could have personal darshan of Krishna. And so Krishna and Arjuna, Mahavishnu, he glorified Krishna and saying that you're my expansions and I've wanted to see you. And so they left, and Arjuna, he was thinking that, why did Mahavishnu, he wanted to see Krishna, why did he go through so elaborate means? And he was thinking that, for some reason he couldn't come to Dwarka, he couldn't see Krishna. Maybe Krishna wouldn't allow him to be seen. And then he was thinking even about how the Brahmin had to suffer so much, but then he understood that being the super soul, Mahavishnu, he had the Brahmin go to complain to Krishna. And so Krishna went on behalf of the Brahmin. But then Krishna revealed to Arjuna that actually, I didn't do it for Mahavishnu, I didn't do it for the Brahmin. I actually did it because of you. You were going to enter into fire, and I actually did it just to save you. I'm not obliged to Mahavishnu or even this Brahmin, but I wanted to save you from calamity, so everything I did was just for you. So we see in this pastime how Krishna is so attractive that even his other forms make elaborate pastimes just to have darshan of Krishna. And we also see how Krishna is inventing, as it's stated here in the purport, inventing pastimes to please his devotees. So we're so fortunate to have these books, to have this knowledge given to us by Srila Prabhupada. And we can take full advantage of this knowledge when we actually give up this pratishta, this name and fame, this janasya moho yamaham thinking in terms of I and mine, and trying to serve the Vaishnavas. So I'll stop here if there's any comments or questions. Archita Prabhu, I think is here. And then Brigupati Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class as usual. As you all know, Bal Gopal Prabhu and his family are moving to Denver, so this may be the last time he's giving class here in New Dwarka. So Haribol, Hare Krishna, thank you. We like to stress here that we quote Prabhupada's books primarily. I'm stressing that especially to newer devotees who are going to start giving classes. So if you would just substantiate that reference about the 3 different sections of, if you could say where that was from.
It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 20, specifically talks about the Icha, Kriya, and Jnana Shakti.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
And I believe it starts with text 257.
Haribol.
Brigupati Prabhu had a comment.
No? Yes?
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, Archita beat me to it. I just kind of wanted to thank you for a beautiful class and
Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.